Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, I hope the last class was clear to everyone that we did in terms of the basics of accounting, the terminologies that we are dealing with. Are they all clear, everyone? Uh, Sharna ma'am, it would be available to you in the later on classes, I believe. Don't worry. I'll let you know when the PDF starts. With every class, currently you'll be getting a video. I think the third, fourth class, after that particular class, you'll get all the details. Okay. Till then, what we are dealing with is it clear, everyone? No problem, ma'am. Okay, so let's begin with it. In the last class, what were we dealing with? She's in the bilingual batch. So, okay. Okay. Now, let's begin with it. Yes, 8 to 9. Let's start with this particular topic. The topic is about the accounting there. In terms of accountancy, we are looking forward to the next topic, which is about how do we deal with accountancy altogether. That means we'll be studying the topic from the point of view of an organization. Okay. There it is. The first terminology that we are going to. Am I audible clearly, everyone? Please confirm. Okay. Thank you. Okay, in the last class, we were dealing with a very important concept. That particular concept is called expenses. So, when we talk about expenses, we have got two particular concepts. First one is expense, and the second one is expenditure. Do you think both of these terms are same or not? These are two different terms. They're not the same. That's the beauty of accountancy. There are certain things which we might be knowing as that they are the same terms, but they're definitely not the same. Okay, now let's talk about this. The first thing that we're going to study here is what is an expense. Then I'll talk about the term expenditure. First of all, what is an expense according to you? Expense is something, do you know, I just bought a particular pencil today. That's an expense for me. Now I just got some stationery for the organization today. That's also an expense. I just said that I just bought milk for the organization because refreshment was required for the staff. That is also an expense. I paid rent today. That's also an expense. Can you give me any other example of expenses there? Correct. Electricity bill. Then, other than this, we are paying traveling expenses again. Let's talk about one more thing that every banker had seen, that is audit expenses. All the banks are subjected to audits. That is also there. Correct. Traveling expenses. Then conveyance expenses. That's correct. Vidul sir. That is conveyance or traveling expenses of the of the employees that are being incurred just because they are paying it on behalf of the organization, right? So that's also there. So all these legal expenses, audit expenses, refreshment expenses, correct. Now there's a huge list of expense. Let's talk about these expenses now. If I paid for my stationery, is it something that is there? If I pay for expenses this month, is it for this month or for around years? If I paid rent, it's going to be used in this particular year, or it's for the current year and previous years as well. If I pay the Wi-Fi bill, that Wi-Fi bill is the expense which is for this particular year or also for the previous year. Very, very basic question. It's just for this particular year. Every year I have to pay it for a different reason, right? That simply means expenses are incurred. There's a particular thing that I had heard from a businessman someday. They told me that in Hindi they say that paisa paise ko bulata hai. And when we talk about in English, how do we say it? It's like money is the reason that we make more money. If we spend money, only then we can earn more. The money we spend in order to earn is called an expense. If I purchase goods to sell it to you, that's an expense. Yes, we have to spend to earn, right? So that is the point the term expenses is all about. Expenses are those that outflow of money which is done in order to earn money. That is what they say in this particular term as well. Cost incurred in the business in the process of earning revenue are called expenses. Okay, am I audible now? Shanti ma'am, the books are available. E-books are there in if you have that particular according to your pack, they would be giving you e-books. Those are visible in the area of purchased material there. Okay. So the thing that we have talked about is expenses. Now let's move on to the next point. Then, okay, before I move forward, let's talk about this particular question. It says, identify the correct sequence of the accounting process. In the last class, we did this process. What's the correct process according to you? Communicating, recording, and then identifying. Recording, communicating, and identifying. Identifying, communicating, and recording. Or identifying, recording, and communicating. According to you, which is the correct sequence, everyone? Whenever you get confused about what particular point should be taken up, always remember that to tell someone, I have to communicate. And when do we communicate? We communicate by the end. Once, see, if you are asking me something, I have to sort it out in my own brain, and then only I can convey it to you now. So basically, I have to prepare my own books of accounts and then I'll come to you. Do you know I have prepared the books of accounts? Would you like to see it? That means either you are public, either you are someone who's an investor, or even if you're government. In any case, I'll have to wait for that, isn't it? That means, first of all, what do? There's only one point. It has made easier, right? First says you communicate. If I don't organize the information, then I just say this is accountancy. What will happen? By the end of the day, you will say that first of all, sort it out on your own. Then come to us. That is, first of all, you cannot communicate without organizing things. That means, first of all, you will have to record it in an organized manner. But in order to record, one thing is you'll ask yourself, is it something that is based upon the business or it is something random? Isn't it? So I'll have to find out whether it relates to my business or not. So when we talk about the entire sequence of accounting process, it is first of all identify whether that particular transaction belongs to your business or not. Then we have to record and then we have to communicate it to the people who are required to deal with it. That is identifying, recording, and then communicating. Now, as I told you, expense and expenditure are not the same thing. When we talk about expense, see, now let's talk about that. I bought a pen today and I also bought a car today. Are these both expenses according to you? Can you define it as an expense? A very, very basic question. Can you call it an expense? That I just bought a car today. Can I say it just like that? I just bought a pen. I just went to the market and got a pen. But can I say that I just went to the market and I bought a car? Now that is the point. Anything that relates, see, expenditure is a broader term. It includes two kinds of expenditure. If I buy an asset, it's called a capital expenditure. If I do the day-to-day expenditure, that's called revenue expenditure. That is why expenditure is a broader term. There we have a little thing called expense in it. So when we talk about expenditure, how can we define it? It can be stated as expenditure has two kids. One is called capital expenditure and the second is called revenue expenditure. It's called revenue expenditure. And the revenue expenditure is called as expense. The nickname of revenue expenditure is expense. So when I say expenditure, you will have to ask me, are you talking about buying an asset and spending money on it? Or are you talking about buying something which we are using for this particular year and boom, it is done with, right? So whenever someone says expense and expenditure is the same thing, it's not. Revenue expenditure and expense is the same thing. So expenditure can be divided into two types. One is capital expenditure, the expenditure which is incurred to buy an asset. What was an asset, everyone? We talked about an asset in the last class, now. Asset is something which helps the business to grow. If I have these equipments and my business is basically say I am someone who is into software development and data analysis and all, so then for me each and every equipment that I bought is going to make me earn more and more money, right? So that is something that I'm going to do. So anything that I'm spending in order to earn is an asset, and if I'm spending to day-to-day things, that is called an expense. So when we talk about the term expenditure, expenditure is spending money or incurring a liability for some benefit, service or property received is called expenditure. We purchase goods, we purchase machinery, we purchase furniture are examples of expenditure. So expenditure has two kids. One is buying an asset and the second one is buying something which is used for production during the business, right? Okay. Now, is the difference between expense and expenditure clear to everyone? Please confirm. Right. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Now, if we understand expense, then what is profit according to you? How do we define the term profit there? When our expenses exceed our income or the otherwise. If I come to you that I have made money, then it would be treated as a profit or a loss. In terms of profit, it means our income is more than our expenses. And that means the revenue of the organization, which is specific to a related period. I'm not going to tell you that do you know I earned 10 lakh rupees in last year and this year I have spent this much. You'll say, ma'am, what are we doing? We need to take up this year's income and this year expense, and then we will compare the two and we will find out whether we are making a profit or a loss. right? So in terms of expenditure and income, in order to find the profit of the current year, it's always related to the fact when the income exceeds our expenses. That's correct. Prashant sir, we can say expenses less sales. It is not like that. It's going to be sales minus expenses, right? So you'll say that this is the selling price, ma'am. Let's talk about this as this, sir. It is selling price minus your cost price. That will give you the profit, na? So your expense has to be less. Only then you will make the profit. Otherwise, you'll have to face a loss. Manoj sir, you have raised your hand. Is there anything that you would like to ask? Deepak sir, in terms of a business, it's always an expense. For us, it is an income, but we are not engaged in business. We are a salaried employees. So when we talk about the business, for a business, salary will always be an expense because business doesn't work under someone. If they earn through an agency, that's called an income. They never receive a salary, right? So whenever a business receives money, they'll say that's their income. If they pay, then they call it an expense. Next point. What's a loss then? Manoj, sir, you have raised your hand. Is there anything that you would like to ask? Now, coming back to the area. When we talk about losses, what's a loss then? When the income falls short and your expense exceeds your income. Sometimes the excess of expenses of a specific period over its related revenue is termed as loss. Now, this decreases the capital. What happens is I had invested a capital in the business. If I make more money, it would add to the profit of the organization. If I lose money, it would be loss for the organization. Isn't it going to be like that? Right? If I have a profit, it would increase my amount. If I face a loss, it would decrease my amount. So basically, capital minus loss, that is plus profit. Right? That is what has been explained in this area. Now, let's come back and talk about a few discounts. What do you mean by the term discount, everyone? How do we define the term discount? How do we term the discount? What is exactly discount? Reduction in the selling price, that's correct. Why are we reducing the selling price? Because we want to sell that particular good. That is why we call it reduction in the selling price. Now, do you know the reduction in the selling price can be divided into two? There are discounts are of two types. If we call the term discount, it's of two types. One is trade discount and one is cash discount. When we talk about the trade and the cash discount, Radha ma'am got the word. Don't worry. Reduction price to increase the sales. That is correct. That is true. See, if I want to make money from you, there's one more thing that I have to give you. That is called psychological pricing. I'll come to you and say, do you know this particular goods would cost us 10,000 rupees, but since you are purchasing it from us, I'll reduce the price and you'll have to pay only 8,000 rupees. So technically, I am giving up my discount. So what I would have done was I would have increased the price and then I would have shown it to you. That is how we term the term. We use the term discount. So what's a discount? If the discount is on your list price and you are purchasing from me in bulk, we call it trade discount because it's basically a part of the trade now. Wholesale purchase, wholesale trade. When the goods are purchased and sold according to that trade discount, that is how we find the list price, and from the list price, we reduce the trade discount. The discount is the deduction in the price of the goods sold. It is offered in two ways. It's basically given in two ways. If it is given towards the area of at the time of selling the goods, it is on list price. We call it the trade discount. But say let's talk about that in detail there. What I did was I wanted to purchase a particular okay there was a specific event which I was going to conduct. For that, I needed water bottles, those small water bottles, handy ones, maybe at least um, around 12 boxes of that particular bottle are required, right? So for that, since I was purchasing in bulk, you said that, ma'am, the total amount would be 20,000, random amount, right? So if I was supposed to pay 20,000 to you for that, then I got a trade discount for you from you, because people normally buy one bottle or two bottle, but I am purchasing it in bulk. So obviously I would get a discount. That discount is called trade discount. That is because it is on the list price. This is something the wholesaler gives to the retail. Now I'm supposed to pay them 18,000. Now, while I was correct, it is price decided by the manufacturers. They decided, and then this is the amount on which we are supposed to buy it. But when we buy in bulk, the reduction in terms of pricing is there. Now what happens is, I was supposed to pay 18,000. I had a word with the seller and said, sir, I can pay you within a week. Is there any chance that I can get a reward out of it? Then that particular person will say, what kind of reward are you exactly looking forward to? I said, if I make a prompt payment, then will you consider it as a discount? You'll say definitely. Then what I'll do is, I'll ask you for another discount, that is called cash discount. Now that would be reduced from the amount that I was supposed to pay. This was my purchases, right? The amount at which I purchased the good was 18,000. Now, because I'm making a prompt payment, I'm making the payment before time. So for that, I will receive a cash discount of 10%. Now the question that arises is, the cash discount is on 20,000 or on 18,000? Correct, Ravi sir. It is always on 18,000. Yamuna ma'am, kindly re-log in. Sometimes this happens, right? It is on 18,000. Correct, everyone. It is 1800, right? So it would be basically 16,200. Now this is the ultimate amount they expect me to pay. Now this is how we find out. Okay, now there are two kinds of discounts that we discussed here in this particular question. So let me highlight it for you. One is your trade discount on the bulk, and one is on cash discount. Okay, considering this one is trade and this one is cash. One is cash discount and this one is cash discount. Are you able to find the difference between the two, everyone? These are the basic terminologies. Is this clear now? Ashok sir, if I pay in advance, then you might be looking forward to the fact that if you are a seller and if you find a particular debtor who's ready to pay before time, I got something from you, and being the person from whom I have bought the goods on credit, I asked you, if I pay you before time, will you provide me any discount? Okay, now let's talk about this in terms of another example. Okay, I purchased goods worth rupees 1 lakh from you. The list price was 1 lakh. Niharika is the purchaser. Okay, I am the purchaser, and say Mr. Banker is the seller. Right? Now, what happened was, the list price was 1 lakh. As soon as I bought the goods from you, I said that that's correct, the premature payments. I'm giving the practical example now, ma'am. When we talk about you are someone who is dealing in wholesale trading, of paper. So you provide, you manufacture paper and then you sell it to me. Now what happened was, I am someone who's a publisher. I print and publish things. So then I bought paper from you in bulk, worth rupees 1 lakh. So when I purchased it, I said, at least give me some discount, because my production has just started. To sell that particular product and then get money out of it will take time. So is it possible that you give me those things on credit, and at the same time, sir, kindly give me some discount now, because I am purchasing it on the bulk basis. So you'll say, okay, if you are purchasing that way, then I'm going to give you a discount of 10% here. So I was supposed to pay 1 lakh, psychological pricing. They just said, okay, then reduce 10,000 out of it. Now I'm supposed to pay 90,000. When now I am supposed to pay 90,000, what will happen then? If I'm supposed to pay 90,000, this was my purchase price, not list price. This was my purchase price, the amount that I was supposed to pay for these goods. Then the next thing happened. Then I was supposed to pay 90. I came to you and I said, by what time normally do you accept the amount? You said that you can pay within 1 month. Then I said, if I pay within 15 days, will you provide me further discount? You said, definitely. If you make the payment before time, when there is a prompt payment, or someone who pays the amount before time, then we will provide you a discount of 5%. That means while I was supposed to pay 90,000, that's correct. It's kind of incentive, right? So basically 90,000 was the amount I was supposed to pay, but I paid it within 7 days. So the seller got really happy and he gave me a discount of 4,500. Now I don't have to pay him 90,000. I'll have to pay him 85,500. Now just because I'm making a prompt payment, I have to pay less. Now this is the difference between the cash discount and the trade discount. Is this clear now? Radha ma'am? Okay. Ashok sir, done? Thank you, ma'am. Now let's move on towards the next point. Now comes the quick question, everyone. Discount or for quick repayment of debt is normally referred to as. If I make a quick repayment, what will you call it? Is it trade discount, prompt payment discount, cash discount, or bulk discount? Go back and see what kind of terminology I was using. Okay, BK sir, I look forward to that. I'll report it. Thank you so much, sir. It's called a cash discount. Since I'm making a prompt payment now. Okay. Now, the correct answer is, since it's about the prompt payment, it is always cash discount. Yamuna ma'am, if you buy something in bulk, you always expect a discount. That's called a trade discount because you're into trading. And if you buy something in bulk and you have got that trade discount, after that you'll say, if I make the prompt payment to you, then, for example, if I buy something, and sometimes, it happens that we get cashbacks in terms of Paytm, in terms of our credit cards, debit cards, they're cash discounts. Because if you make the payment before time, then you will be rewarded. So everybody will be rewarded if they make the payment before time. That is called cash discount. The discount you get because you're paying the cash before time. while trading is because you are buying things in bulk. That's the difference between the two. Now, the correct answer is cash discount, everyone. Now, moving on to the next point. Then, what is voucher? Very interesting term. What do you mean by the term voucher? The answer is cash discount. I have seen, okay, in terms of the bank audits, many times as an auditor, the auditor is always going to the bank and asking them, can you provide me the vouchers? Vouchers are what exactly? Radha ma'am, couldn't get your point, ma'am. Bills are also vouchers, that's correct. Invoices are also vouchers, right? Previous question, the answer is cash discount, ma'am. Um, Still, ma'am, not exactly instructions, but yes, these are kind of documentary proofs. It's a documentary proof that you are doing it. Yes, we can call it an instruction in such a case. For example, this is what I've seen. For example, if any payment was made to the labor workers, na, so there the accountant will sign it, and the even the particular person who came to do that particular work, they also counter sign it. So basically, these are called vouchers. If I ask you that, did you spend 10,000 rupees on the that's correct, sir. Did you spend 10,000 rupees on petrol? Then you will say, yes, ma'am, we did that. So you submitted the bill there. So what is happening there? The conveyance expenses, which we get a reimbursement as. How do we get that reimbursement? Just because we submit that this is the bill and we need to get reimbursements out of it, right? So this is how we define it as. Petty cash is another thing which deals with it. The petty cashier looks forward to it, and the petty cashier keeps all those small vouchers which they state in that 100 rupees milk came, and this time sugar came, whatever those petty things were there, they noted it down. So by the time the main accountant would come to them, they can justify it. Sir, this is where we spent. In terms of banking, every time we go to a bank, I have seen depositing the in terms of pay in slips. Whenever I deposit money into the bank, we have that long slip now. In terms of bank, this part is something which I get back, and this is the point which goes to the bank. So basically both of us get a voucher, isn't it? I get a voucher, and at the same time you also get a voucher. So both of us have a proof that yes, I deposited money into the bank, isn't it? So voucher is basically documentary evidence in support of the transaction, is known as a voucher. Pay in slip as well as the withdrawal slips are a part of vouchers. Then what do you mean by the term goods? Now that's another important thing. That's true, it's a proof of payment. Then what do you mean by the term goods there? That's a good example, sir. When we talk about goods are not assets, goods are never assets. Goods are basically something which we buy to sell. If I'm using this pen, I'm using my equipments, these are my assets through which I'm earning. If I'm a freelancer, then this is the thing that I use to gain money. But this is not what I sell and make money. So what the thing, for example, if I make or I produce mattress and I sell it to you, that mattress that I produce and sell, through which I'm actually earning, is my goods. This is the beauty of accounting. If you purchase something, that is called purchases. When you will be selling that particular good, you'll use the term sales. In accountancy, we do not use the term goods in recording at all. We call it either purchases, we call it either sales. There is nothing called goods. It refers to the products in which the business unit is dealing. This is the business that they're actually doing, in terms of which it is buying and selling, producing and selling. So it is basically something which they purchase, right? So that is how we define the term goods. Now, the next point is drawings. See, when I put money into the business, it's called capital. We have studied about it already now. When I invested money into the business, it was called capital. Now, I came to the business and said, do you remember I invested 1 lakh rupee into your accounts? The business will say, yes, you invested money. Now, what do you want? I said, I would like to take out some money because I have some personal expenses to bear. So, drawings are basically withdrawal of the money or the goods by the owner from the business for personal use. If you take the money out of business for your personal use, then it's called drawings. That is how we define the term drawings. Right? So when we talk about drawings, it is basically something that we use for our personal requirements to meet up. So that's drawings for you. Next is called purchases. The goods that we purchase but for sale. So that is what they're talking about. Purchases are the total amount of goods produced, procured or purchased by the business. So the purchases can be both. It can be cash, it can be credit. If I bought a pack of chips and made the payment to you, it's called cash purchase. If I bought a pack of chips and I said, I'll make the payment to you later on, it's a credit purchase. Why? Because I'm a grocery store. I also purchase the goods from you and then I sell it further to the people. So for me, it's basically a purchases. Correct. Buying or purchasing for selling. That's correct, Lilavati ma'am. Basically, we are not purchasing these goods for our personal consumption or for our business. It's basically something I get and then I move it forward. That is how we define this term. Okay. Now let's move on to the next point. In trading concern, any concern which basically purchases and then sells it, they have the term purchases. They purchase for resale. In a manufacturing concern, what do we purchase as a manufacturing concern? Raw material or finished goods? It's called a raw material. Correct. As a manufacturing concern, I have various kind of purchases. See, in terms of purchases, I purchase in terms of purchase manufacturing concern, I have raw material. Number one, I have WIP, that is work in progress. The year has ended and a part of it is still with me. That is called work in progress, and the last one is called finished goods. So we have got three levels, right? So that is what they have stated, that in a manufacturing concern, it can be divided into the purchases, the work in progress, and the finished goods. So these are the three things which are there in terms of stock. You purchase the raw material, but then during the year you are also working on its production. So that is something that we define as the area of the raw material. Then we have the finished goods, and then we have the work in progress, and then we have the finished goods. So that is what we define in terms of purchases. Then what stock? Anything which is left behind. See, in the okay, today I was having milk, right? Let's talk about in a household. What happens is I bought milk today, 1 liter. I consumed 750 ml today. So how much milk is still left with me? If I got 1 liter and I've used 750 ml, correct, ma'am? I still have 250 ml. That is my stock. That means in terms of goods, even if I purchase goods from you and then I kept it in my books, that is called, I have kept it as a stock. If it can be opening stock, whatever was there in the beginning of the year, and then we have closing stock. Opening stock is which is something which is in the beginning of the year, and then the closing stock is something which is there, which is left by the end of the year. Stock of inventory is a measure of something on hand or goods, spares. It can be anything. For example, varnish, tarnish. In terms of the loose tools, it can be raw material. So basically, stock can be divided into three parts. It can be raw material, it can be WIP, it can be finished goods, but also it can have loose tools and spares. So we can have all these things together, right? Got it, everyone? That's how we define the term stock. Okay, with this, finished goods is also a stock, ma'am. If by the end of the day, see what happened was, I bought raw material from you. I bought raw material for my business worth rupees 10 lakh. Then I was in midway. A few units were still being made, and then we changed it. That means I got raw material worth rupees 10 lakh, and I consumed for my business worth rupees 8 lakh. So raw material of 2 lakh is still there in the warehouse. While I was working on this good worth rupees 8 lakh, I found that in terms of this 8 lakh rupees, uh, 6 lakhs was converted into finished goods, while the remaining was still in progress. So you will define it as this. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me show it to you. It was just on the back now. Now is it visible, everyone? Out of 10 lakh rupees, if I had 10 lakh rupees of goods, then 2 lakh was for warehouse, then 8 lakh was basically consumed in terms of the goods. So basically, out of which 6 lakh was used and converted into the finished goods, while the remaining is still with us. Is it clear, everyone? Clear? Now, let's move on and learn two new terms today. One term is debtor and the other term is creditor. These are those terms which we are going to constantly use. That's why I had to emphasize on these two terms. Okay, if I sold goods to you, right? If I have sold goods to, okay, we have bankers here now. So let's talk about, I have sold goods to Mr. Banker or Miss Banker, right? So if I have sold goods to them, then they are my asset or a liability. Now let's talk about that. It would be an asset or a liability if I sold goods to them on credit. I'll recover money from them later on. That I have given you the goods now. Whenever you wanted that good, you received the good. Now pay me the money. Now I'll be here. I'll be standing like, okay, I was supposed to get money from them. Then I'll be walking from beside that particular banker with confidence that weren't you supposed to pay me money? So basically, for me, it's an asset. I'll be constantly reminding them that you are supposed to pay me money because you have bought goods from me. That's called an asset. Now that particular thing, when I sell goods to someone on credit, they become my asset, they become my debtor. And later on, we'll learn about this, that assets are always. Do you remember we talked about this something called LHS is equal to RHS? In terms of accountancy, we have DR and CR. So, asset is something which deals with the debit side. So, in terms of debit, we have the debtor. We learn that every asset is always shown on the debit side. The debit side said, I am going to keep the assets. It said that liability, go and take care of the credit side. So the LHS and the RHS, the blue team and red team was already chosen. So assets are debited and among them is the debtor. That means debtor refers to the person from whom we will receive money because he or she purchased goods from us on credit and they owe money to us. Who owe to an enterprise an amount of buying the goods and services. right? The total amount standing against such persons or entities on the closing date is shown in the balance sheet. When we talk about the ultimate financial statements of an organization, they show it there that we are supposed to get money from this particular person. They call them as debtors. Clear, everyone? Is the term debtor clear? Because we are going to talk about the debtors a lot. So always remember, debtor means someone from whom we are supposed to get money, right? Deepak sir, if I sold goods to you on credit, then I'll always be very confident and I'll be coming to you, sir, Deepak sir, you are supposed to pay me money. I'm always confident on that partner. So you are an asset to me or a liability? I'm supposed to receive money from you. So from my point of view, are you an asset to me or a liability? Correct. Definitely, they are good for the organization because you get money out of it now. Correct, sir. It's an asset. So if I'm supposed to receive money from you, I'll always be confident that do you know I'm going to receive money. I'm going to receive money, right? That is called an asset. Lilavati ma'am, interest is an income for the bank. Correct. It is only on the credit sale. If you see, let's talk about this in a general sense. Every day we buy groceries. I just now, I think just before the class, I went to the market and bought a bottle of Coke. The particular person, they asked rupees 20. I paid that rupees 20. Do you think they would have even asked my name? Will they be bothered about my name at all? Just a general question. If I bought a bottle of cold drink from a random grocery store, will they ever be bothered about knowing my name? Will they ever ask me? They don't need to. They wanted money, they got money. So, this is why when we talk about the debtors, we note down the name of that particular person only if he owes money and he'll pay it in future. If we buy, this is a very common tradition that you will find in many grocery stores. Those people who buy from that organization every now and then what they do is they note down their names and they keep an account that during the month they have purchased this much, now they'll make the payment. That particular thing, they're called debtors there. Deepak sir, NPA, the non-performing assets, which you can say these are basically losses for the organization. They are neither asset nor a liability. I'll call them a loss. When they're not paying, when they're bad debts, these are losses for the organization. Right. The pending payments, when they become irrecoverable, na ma'am, that is called a loss. It's neither an asset nor a liability. Till the time I am scared whether the particular person will pay or not, let's put some money aside. We don't know whether that particular person will make that payment or not. We call it the term provision. If I am almost certain that this particular person is not going to pay and my business will have to suffer because of that, let's make a provision for that. That is what accountancy does. Anticipate the losses and keep the money aside for that. Clear, everyone? Is the term debtor and all the practical examples clear? I will note down the name of that particular person only and only if it's on credit. If the particular person paid cash, the transaction is complete. Receiving of the goods, payment for the money. That means we do not ask that particular person their names at all. We don't need to. We have already got the money. Right? That's how we define the term debtors. Now comes the term creditors. How do we define the term creditor? It's opposite of the debtor. If I bought now, okay, let's talk about this. There's Mr. B, B for banker. Here, there's Mr. B. I purchased goods from Mr. Banker. I said, sir, I need goods. So I purchased goods from you. And I said, I don't have money right now. Can I pay you tomorrow? Or can I pay you after 1 month? So you agreed to that. So basically, are you an asset to me or are you a liability? I am supposed to pay you within a period of 1 month. Yes, Lavati ma'am. If the amount is pending and not received, then it becomes a dead loss. That means it would be treated as loss. Correct, Radha ma'am? It's a liability during that period. The moment I pay them the money, the account books are closed. Till the time they don't pay the money, if I don't pay them the money, it's a liability on my head. I am supposed to pay that money. I owe them that money, right? Then that's how they are called creditors. Creditors are the persons and the entities who have to be paid by an enterprise an amount of providing the enterprise goods or services on credit. This is just for your reference. Always remember the person to whom you have to pay. He's a creditor. See, all the assets were taken by the debit side, right? For example, when we were kids, it was always said that red color was for girls and the blue color was for boys, right? Pink and blue and all, right? Just like that, just learn all the assets are debit. So everything that you possess because you are feeling like this is mine, that's your asset. Now I owe to someone, I'll bow down and I'll think about it that, oh, I have to pay to someone. That's a liability. It's exact opposite of an asset. It's shown on the credit side. So C for credit side and C for creditor. D for debit side, D for debtor. So this is how we define this entire portion, right? Saving bank account, correct. That's a very beautiful example, ma'am. Saving bank account is an asset to me. I'll tell you that, pata, I have my HDFC account or I have my SBI account, I have PNB account, and in my account I have 10 lakh rupees. That's my asset. And if I am supposed to pay my bank loan, I have taken a loan for my house that is of around maybe 20 lakh rupees. That's a liability. So for the business, it will note it down. Correct. The creditors are those people from whom I purchase goods for trade. Okay? So by the end of the year, if I still owe them money, they will be noted as creditors. And to whom I have sold goods, and I'll be treating them as the sales, as debtors, right? So the total amount standing in favor of a person or entities on the closing date is shown in the balance sheet as sundry creditors on the liability side. Deep sir, I think it's both ways. If you have less creditors, it is good. If you have no creditors, then I think you can take a little creditor, because that means you still continue with the business with that particular organization. Do you know many organizations deliberately maintain the creditors? With that particular scenario, you keep the money moving. You buy the goods on credit, then you sell it to the people, you get money, and then you pay money to them. That means you don't have to keep a lot of money in your cushion, right? So that you don't have to pay everything, everybody at any point of time. You still have a cushion in your business. So basically, we maintain this in this way that I'll receive the money and then I'll pay you. So yes, every organization maintains both. They have debtors as well as they have creditors, right? Okay. So with this, I'll end the session today. In the next session, yes, they do it. The dealers, the dealers and cars, they do it deliberately. What they do is they take the particular cars from the company and then they sell it and then they make the payment to the particular car company, because how much stock then they can keep. So they do not pay for the entire money every now and then. While they have a good amount of money, the car agencies have money in definitely in crores, because they have to keep the security deposits going in as well. That the dealers have to do that, na. But they do not pay the entire amount right away to the company, because if they pay it and then something happens, then how are they going to deal with it? That's why they maintain that the manufacturer, I'll give the money to you. If it's from Tata, if it's from Hyundai, it's Honda, whatever the organization would be, they maintain it, right? Okay, so let's end the session today. But before that, there's one particular question. This is what we haven't done yet, but let's talk about it. And this is the hint that this is what we're going to deal in the upcoming classes. The basic accounting postulates are denoted by the terms which says that basic accounting postulates. They are given as concepts of accounting. That's called bookkeeping, or you have heard the term accounting standards, or none of the above. A very okay. If you don't know the answer, go ahead and try it out, because this year this is what you have to do. You'll have to assess whether you can go ahead and attempt that question or not as well. So go ahead and try the unknown to understand up to what extent we can go wrong. Prasanti, sir, I'll look forward to that particular area. I'll just show you the entire plan so that you can actually find out what particular classes are going on in the JIB area altogether. Nilavati ma'am, that's the question. What does the term postulates mean? The basic accounting postulates are denoted by. The moment I tell you the meaning of postulates, the question is over for you. So go ahead. Everybody, go ahead and try the answers. I can see your answers, and every time you are answering, I get to know whether you are able to understand the concept or not. And if you feel comfortable, rather always feel comfortable, because I can read your comments individually. So whenever you feel that there's a particular thing which you are unable to understand totally, then ask me again about it. Right? Okay. I get different answers. Postulates are basically the theoretical areas, the theories. So if we talk about the theories, so it is concepts. That's why I just said the moment I tell you the meaning of the postulates, the question is over for you. Now, this is what everybody has to learn, because now the JIB examination is again an examination which will possess the negative marking, right? So every time you see an unknown question, go ahead and try it and find out to what extent are you going wrong. Ravi sir, you were correct. Right, this is what we can do in terms of our classes. Let's understand how can we take the risk in the examination, how can we avoid the risk. Yes. Okay, so let's end the session here today. And in the upcoming class, I'll talk about these concepts of accounting. Along with that, who uses these accounting systems? Who are them? They are internal users or they're external users. Who are the users and what do they do with the books of accounts? Right? We'll be discussing that in the upcoming class. But before that, let's understand what do they exactly do. Okay. Before I end the session, let me show you where to go if you're looking forward to this particular class. Ilavati ma'am, that's the basic point of using these particular first 5 classes are just for the terminologies. So you get acquainted with accountancy. So even if it's absolutely new for you, then it is not something by the end of 5th class you can still correlate now. That is something I'm going to try on my level. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so if you're looking forward to the classes and anybody who's looking forward to what's the plan, how do we go to the classes, how do we find out that particular scenario, all you need to do is you need to go on to our area of the website. So you have to go to www.adda247.com. Here you will find all the details. Let's go down. Here you will find the JIB and the CAIB area. In terms of the JIB area, all you can do is you can look forward to the JIB 2023 course. Here, in terms of the JIB 2023 course, you'll find the JIB new target batch. That's our English medium batch that I'm teaching for. So we have started with the first 5 classes, which are introductory classes. In order to understand what exactly accounting is, we need to understand the ABC now. So this is an attempt to let you know and to make you comfortable with the area of accountancy. Here you have 145 hours of online classes, 73 test series and 67 ebooks at this point of time. Once the entire syllabus and other thing comes, you will also get more updated data. Right, so till now the classes are as follows. RBWM, which started on 19th, it is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. AFM has also started, it is from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. IE and IFS will start from 13th Jan, it would be from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. and PPB will start from 13th of January, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. Voice not clear, sir? Am I audible clearly, everyone? Thank you so much. So this is where you will find all the details. And the ebooks are also available for you. The test series is also available for you in terms of the new target batch. So if anybody is looking forward to any specific batch, and if you are not able to understand where the ebooks are, the test series are, kindly review the batch that you have taken up. Or if you haven't taken up the batch yet, you can click on the area of buy now and you can use the code Y541 and you will get a discount of up to 77%. So there you'll get it for 4599.77, right? So you can review it for further details. And okay, and at the same time, everyone, I'm also conducting morning sessions which starts at 7:30 in the morning, which is the YT sessions. That means I'm discussing MCQs and the basic concepts there as well. So kindly join there. Anybody who's a part of the paid batch, always go ahead and check out that particular morning batch as well, so that you are automatically learning more and more. Like during the class, we are dealing with this. Soon after, I think 2 or 3 classes, you'll be able to review the PDF as well. I'll tell you when the PDF area starts with, right? So then you'll get the PDF. You have the video class with you. With these two things, you are automatically revising the class. First, you are learning the concept. By looking at the PDF, you will be able to revise that concept. Thirdly, if you go towards the area of test series, or if you go to the YT sessions, you are again revising it. That is the third step that you are dealing with. So basically, everything that you are doing in a week, you are revising it thrice. If you are doing this regime, then more or less by the end of the this particular course that is completed, most of the work would already be done with by you. Basically, I understand everybody is working. That's why if you finish off the things during the class only, so after the completion of the batch, all you will be left with is ample of time for your or for your the self study. Because ultimately, I'll always say, make sure that you are looking forward to the self study. Learning the thing online is not enough. You'll always require that you need to look forward to the area of noting down the notes as well. Or if you're looking forward to think, if you find something difficult, then also note down the time of that particular thing, that I'll revise it later on again, right? Sure, sir. I'll come up with those particular tricks as well. We'll start with the tips and tricks, not only for eliminating the wrong answers, but we'll also learn the calculator tricks during our classes as well, so that this particular tool can be used by you in a proper way in the examination. Because all the resources have to be fully utilized, right? So I'll let you know slowly and steadily about all these things. And thank you so much for the feedback, sir. I look forward to it. Okay, so we'll be meeting tomorrow. So the morning class is going on at 7:30 on our YouTube channel, Officers Adda 24/7. It's at 7:30 in the morning, JAIIB batch. So you can also revise everything that we are dealing with here in those classes as well. You can review the initial classes. Thank you, everyone.